things that we may be willing to kill for. Ladies, gentlemen, letter friends, welcome back to Party Wolf Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about my little personal tips to overcoming FOMO. Tip number 1, finding the distinction between what you want, what you have, and what you need. Tip number 2, leveraging your yeses and your nos. And then tip number 3 is building healthy habits that you can become addicted to. If you don't know what you need, what you want, and what you have, and how to compartmentalize those 3, it's very hard to effectively decide what you should or shouldn't miss out on. The Chinese philosopher Mencius once said, "The disease of men is that they neglect their own fields and go to weed the fields of others." And that very same sentiment is echoed in the beginning of chapter 7 of the book of Matthew. Why do you see the speck in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, "Let me take the speck out of your eye," when there is a log in your own eye? If you're too busy watching the embers in your neighbor's yard, then you miss the bonfire in your own. How can we cultivate what we aren't even aware of? I used to think about this as, something negative, right? Like you're pointing out people's flaws. But looking back, it almost speaks more to people's situations, right? Like, don't focus on this other person's situation, focus on your own, assess your own, right? He's saying to look at everything you have and not, the one thing you can see that someone else has. How much joy can you get from a speck? How much fun can you have? And how much love can you get versus how much you could get from a plank? The speck might be a wedding you weren't invited to. It might be a person that turned you down that you were interested in, pics of, a trip on social media that a bunch of friends took that you couldn't make. But the plank is time spent with loved ones, with your family and your friends. The focus and determination you put into self-care and healing. It's doing things that make the world a better place. So you say no to someone else's speck, but you say yes to your plank. I want to show you guys a clip.
You can get to a point where, people will respect your no, that yes. You own your time.
Also, for me, it was helpful to realize that a no is also a yes, and that a yes is also a no. When you're saying, yeah, sure, I'll do X, Y, or Z because someone asked and you don't want to be rude or you don't like confrontation, you're just setting up a different confrontation, usually at home. I said yes to do something that I didn't really want to do, that I don't have to do. It's not important. Your 3-year-old's like, where's dad? Yeah. You said no to that. You're like, I don't want to be rude. Right. But then you were super rude to the person that cares about you the most in the world, that you, by nature of bringing them into the world, promised them all of your time.
And he'd probably far prefer spending time with than the person you said yes to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saying no to one thing means that you can say yes to another thing. And if you find things that are worth saying yes to, it makes it so much easier to say no to the other things.
There's a Marcus Aurelius quote in Meditations where he goes, "Are you afraid of death because you won't be able to do this anymore?" And I think about that whenever I'm doing fucking bullshit that I got guilted into doing or I was doing, and I'm like, this is the meaning of life, this dumb event I'm at, or this dinner party that I wish would be over soon.
Didn't want to say no. Didn't feel like I could say no. Someone's not going to like me if I say no.
You ever at something and someone's like, "Why are you here?" And you're like, "Yeah, why am I here?" Oh, yeah. That's super helpful. I wish people would do that for each other more.
Yeah.
You're like, this was, you guys said no.
If one of your needs is money, does it make sense every weekend to go out and spend money at the bar? And what are the chances, if it's the same people inviting you to the bar every weekend, what are the chances they're also bad at managing money? I'm not saying not to go out. If you not going out just means you're going to be home watching reruns of the same shows you've always watched. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying find something that is more valuable so that you don't have to focus on what you miss out on, but you're focusing on what you get to do. So make sure you have at least one bigger yes. Ryan Holiday, the gentleman talking with Tom Segura, is the author of The Daily Stoic, 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living. This entry is actually from May 13th, and it's a quote by Epictetus about habits. Every habit and capability is confirmed and grows in its corresponding actions. Walking by walking and running by running. Therefore, if you want to do something, make a habit of it. If you don't want to do that, don't, but make a habit of something else instead. One of the things that Ryan writes as, the extrapolation of what this is saying is think about your activities of the last week as well as what you've planned for today and the week that follows. The person you like to be or the person you see yourself as. How closely do your actions actually correspond to him or her? Which fire are you fueling? Which person are you becoming? Fueling the habit bonfire. And I swear, I didn't think about that when I thought of the bonfire metaphor that I said earlier. That was natural. That just happened. How many of your FOMO moments are moments where you would have been doing things that were bad habits versus things that could be good habits? That could help you distinguish between what you should actually miss out on and what you should be focusing on. But you can only feel regret if you're looking back. That brings the value of living in the present moment so much higher. Because if you're always looking back, you spend less time fully engaged with what you're doing at the moment. Slowly but surely, I started to realize the positive habits that I built, I found more satisfaction in. And it wasn't forced, it wasn't faked. It just happened naturally over time, but it was practiced. Well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing. For more info on building healthy habits, check out the Small Wins playlist right here. There's a few videos on meditation and journaling and much more to come. Bonus tip for you. Everything comes at a cost. There's a story that I saw on Instagram where Ryan Holiday talked about Epictetus and his lamp. It was this nice lamp. He woke up in the middle of the night to see that someone had yanked it. His solution for that was to go buy a cheaper lamp. One made of wood or clay. And because everything has a cost, even the things that we may covet and we may envy and we may be, willing to kill for. And it's like, if I could just get that, I would be happy. Or if I could get, this, I would be straight. You don't know that. As J. Cole says, love yours. There's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. Because if you can't learn to appreciate what you have, no matter what you get, you'll never be happy. At the end of your life, what will you regret? Not going out enough, not enough hookups, enough flings. Maybe you wanted to paint the town red one more time. Or will you think about the loved ones that you didn't spend time with, the friends you never called, or all the love you missed out on because you were fueled by envy? Find the distinction between what you have, what you need, and what you want. Learn how to use your yes and your no for the things that you need to do before the things you want to do. Continue to build healthy habits that you can become addicted to. And remember, everything comes at a cost. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked that video, here's a few more that you'll definitely enjoy. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, share with a friend.